Once upon a time in a world not so different from ours, except with more fancy pants and powdered wigs, there lived a man named Jamie. Now, Jamie wasn't your typical Joe. Oh no, Jamie was a simple guy with a simple dream. All he wanted was to eat some toast, drink some coffee, and survive Mondays. But fate, it seems, had other plans for him. Plans that involved a talking toaster and a trip through time. It all started when Jamie decided to treat himself after a particularly brutal weekend. I deserve it, he said to himself as he pulled out his brand new toaster, purchased at a whopping $17.99 from an online marketplace. Cheap, cheerful, and most importantly, online reviews suggested it was decent at making toast. Jamie thought as he put 2 slices of bread into the slot, but little did he know that this ordinary-looking appliance was anything but. The moment he pressed the defrost button, the kitchen exploded in a flash of light, and just like that, Jamie was gone. Disoriented, he found himself face first in what felt like a pile of sand. As he sat up, his first thought was, wow, my toast is really burnt. But that thought was quickly replaced by another, why are there pyramids? It seemed he had somehow ended up in ancient Egypt. Before he could ponder any further, a man in a golden headdress stared at him with wide eyes. You there? Are you Ra, the sun god? He exclaimed. Jamie checked his reflection in the toaster and realized he was still wearing his pajamas. Oh, he thought, this was going to be a very long day. Yes, Jamie replied hesitantly. And that's how Jamie accidentally became a god in ancient Egypt. Chapter 2. A toasterious problem. Turns out, pharaohs loved toast. When they heard the sun god had descended from the heavens, they threw Jamie a royal feast in his honor. In fact, the only thing on the menu was toast. Of course, Jamie didn't mind. He happily obliged and became the official toaster of the pharaohs. For weeks, life was good. Jamie enjoyed the finer things in life, like gold-plated furniture and servants who called him, "Oh, my toaster." However, one morning during the royal breakfast, disaster struck. The toaster wasn't working. The bread simply refused to toast, fix it, or be fed to the crocodiles. The high priest warned. Jamie gulped. It was one of the worst days in his new life. Not only was his hangover kicking in, but he also had a nasty case of food poisoning from eating dodgy street tacos the night before. One sec, he said. I need to, summon my divine power. The priest rolled his eyes, but gave Jamie a chance. After all, they didn't want their new sun god to start his reign by feeding the crocodiles. As the crowd gathered around, Jamie frantically pressed the defrost, bagel and waffle buttons at the same time. Nothing happened. With seconds ticking by, he pressed the knob as hard as he could. Then, POF, another flash of light engulfed the room and Jamie was gone. Chapter 3. The future has no toast. When Jamie came to, he found himself in a metallic city. Flying cars zoomed past and robots walked dogs. Looking down, he noticed a small device in his hand. It was his toaster, but now it looked like apparently it had transformed into its futuristic mode. Then a robotic voice blared, warning. Ancient artifact detected. From behind a corner, a group of cyborg police officers surrounded him. One of them spoke in a monotone voice. Sir, you are in possession of an illegal device. In the year 3024, possession of bread-based technology is strictly prohibited. Jamie gasped. What? So there's no toast in the future? The robots nodded. In 2450, carbs were deemed too powerful, and an outright ban was imposed. The use of toasters is considered a serious offense against the state. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Jamie knew he had to get back home. Being a god in ancient Egypt was great and all, but it was getting pretty hot and Plus, he really missed his air conditioning. Not to mention, he had a date with Sarah from work on Friday, and he really wanted to impress her. But before he could even think about pressing the button on his toaster, a scientist suddenly appeared. Wait, this is incredible, she exclaimed, snatching the toaster from his hands. An actual artifact from the past. Just think of all the data we could gather. She turned to her assistant. Quick, get the containment team. But Jamie wasn't going without a fight. He lunged for the toaster, but it was too late. The scientist had already zapped it with a stun gun. As they carried the inert toaster away, Jamie knew he had to escape. Suddenly, an idea struck him. He pretended to have a coughing fit, drawing the attention of a nearby guard. As the guard rushed to his aid, asking if he was alright, Jamie made his move. He dashed out of the building, weaving through the crowds. Chapter 4. The Great Toast Escape. The chase was on. Guards and scientists alike pursued Jamie through the futuristic streets. He dodged self-driving cars and electric scooters as he made his way to an underground noodle shop. Slipping inside, he knocked over a bowl of ramen noodles, startling an old man sitting in the corner. "Oops, sorry," Jamie stammered, trying to make a quick getaway. But the old man stopped him with a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Jamie?" he asked. Jamie blinked. "What? How do you know my name?" The old man stood up, revealing a face that was both familiar and aged. "You haven't changed a bit," Jamie exclaimed, "except for the wrinkles and the cane. Oh, and the fact that you're somehow 102 years old." The old man sighed. "Look, you gotta stop running away from your problems, champ. You knocked over my noodles." "Yeah, well," Jamie started, but the old man cut him off. "Just go fix your toaster. Well, yeah, we had a deal. Now my dinner's getting cold." It was then that Jamie realized his grandpa had somehow managed to live long enough to see the future. With renewed determination, his grandpa fixed his toaster with one swift smack. The moment the dial clicked into place, a portal shimmered into existence behind Jamie. Before he stepped through, he glanced back at his grandpa and gave him a grateful nod. "Thanks, Gramps," he whispered. And just as Jamie jumped into the swirling vortex, the cyborgs tackled his grandpa to the ground. "Save toast," his grandpa yelled heroically, clutching the precious appliance in his arms. Chapter 5. Back to breakfast. When Jamie woke up, his alarm clock blared. Another Monday, another existential crisis. Groaning, he reached for his coffee. It was still steaming. He looked down at his toast, perfectly golden brown and just the way he liked it. His heart swelled with relief. It had all been a dream. As he spread butter on his toast, he couldn't help but smile. Had it really been a dream? Then he saw a tiny futuristic sticker on his toaster, property of the Galactic Toast Preservation Society. A shiver ran down his spine. What if it wasn't a dream at all? What if he really had traveled through time and saved the future of toast? Lost in thought, he took a bite of his toasted bread and whispered, "Grandpa would be proud." The end.